inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher, unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no, real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Yay! Guess what? We are in season 2, ladies, and this season is off the chain. You guys already know that because it's all about elevation. And there is no elevation without self-actualization. And so we're going to, bam, stop that right here. What that means is I'm a tad bit excited because this interview is going to be impromptu, but we still had a little mini, 3-minute conversation just to make sure that we were on the same page about what my guest speaker wants this golden nugget to be. And so, self-accountability. Lord, those are words that make you have to mess with your throat chakra. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, I'm super duper excited to invite my guest. I met this woman on Instagram by way of someone else by way of the podcast. And I'm like, you gotta be on the podcast. Her personality and her spirit was so electrifying. I actually was like, you just got to go live with me on IG when we first met.
That's the first time we talked, yeah.
Yes, it is. And so I am excited to have Pica with me today. She is our guest speaker who is going to shake something up in your spirit because her words are life. So Pica, say hi to everybody.
What's up, you guys? Pica out here in Singapore. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, August. I really do appreciate it. We had to catch up. She said we talked about 3 minutes. Yeah, it's been a while since I talked to her, so we had to catch up real quick.
Yeah. Well, that was another 5 minutes. But you telling on us. You telling on us. So I know you, but I love for the guests to get to know the speakers. Tell them who you are.
I am. At my core, I'm a mom. To my friends, to my family, to my daughter, I am a mom. I'm that person that most people come to for advice when they're feeling lost. I'm that person that, if they just need a home cooked meal, they end up in my house. I'm a mom. I think that's just basically it. I'm a mom.
When you said that, I'm going through something right now. My followers will know exactly what that is. And when you said that, you made me think about my grandmother. I mean, she would literally see somebody on the side of the house and be like, that kid ain't had no food to eat. And she would bring them in. Everybody could get fed. Her home was a revolving door in a good way for people that needed somewhere to stay. And so that's probably another thing that at the core that connects us. So yeah, that is you. You're very motherly, a very loving, a very connected, inspiring spirit.
Not the smothering kind, but like to be
yeah, you're not smothering, but very loving. We're gonna just own it, So, but that's who you are as a person. Who are you as a business or as a brand? What is that?
I identify with being a brand more than a business. For me, I like to lead by example. So my brand is everything that I am. So you already know, but I'm going to tell all your listeners, I was born in Singapore, but I've spent my entire life moving from country to country. And no, my dad was not an army brat. He's not the brat, I'd be the brat. He was a civil engineer, and he had a travel bug. So he'd drag us to whichever country. I've been in 5 different countries, 7 different languages, like a lot of moving around. So with all of that, you pick up things. The one thing I got really good at is reinventing myself. So when I went to a new school, new kid syndrome, you're cool until you open your mouth, and then you're like, okay, I got to adjust some stuff. So whenever I got to move to another school, I got to discard what I didn't like and pick up another habit or another, personality trait and see what worked there. So my brand is who I love about me right now. It took me 30 years to get here. I'm not about to change for anybody. So this is it. I mean, this is about as transparent as it gets.
Tell them the name. I love the name of your brand.
So it's a variation of the word Rasati. Rasati in Tamil means sweetheart. It's actually my oldest aunt's nickname, and she let me have the nickname, but I couldn't get it to where it said Rasathi. So I put a 1 in there. So for everyone who's looking for me, Rasath1. So Rasat1 is the brand that I'm representing right now.
Oh man, I love that. And that was beautiful, the way you even talked about it. The moving definitely will require you to morph like that. I had to morph like that. I went to like 9 different schools from kindergarten to the time that I graduated. Luckily, from the 8th grade till my graduation, I was in the same school district in the same school. But prior to that, every year, it was a different school. And I was
It's rough.
It is. Garden City, Kansas, Springfield, Missouri, and some of these places I was literally the only Black student, or maybe there were only 2 of us. And so during a time frame, which people think is so far away, and no, this is not going to turn into the, racial segment, but I went to a desegregated high school. So that did mean something for me to still be that young and then to be the only African American. I remember one school I went to was Bingham Elementary in Springfield, Missouri. And it was me and a mixed girl, and so she got flack for not being 100% one or the other. I mean, flack. And then I got flack because, who is this Black kid? So it was interesting. And you went through changes. I remember kids broke my glasses on purpose, just cruel stuff. Right. And so when you have that as your foundation, you feel like you got to morph everywhere. And then here you come, and especially in the entrepreneurial arena, you got to show up as who the hell you are. And so many people need to figure out who they are in the first place. And when they do that, that's when most people have this explosive moment, in their business, explosive moment with attraction, people coming to you because there's something that needs to be reflective. And when we're confused, people are confused. And so clarity is a beautiful thing. What you thinking?
And that's something you and I have worked on a lot, actually, because maybe the year that I've known you now, I've gone through a couple of changes. Like, honestly, the reason I identify with being a brand more than a business is because I like who I am. Yeah. Now, going through school, better than most, moving through school, from school to school, a different set of people, trying to figure out who your friends are. All you want to do is fit in. All you want to do is like blend in, don't stand out. But now I'm like, fuck it, I don't really care anymore. I'm me. So you like it, whatever. And there's certain parts of me that I really enjoy that a lot of people look at me like, okay, what is your problem? But I don't care anymore. There's no one telling me that I can't do these things anymore.
Absolutely. Now, I'm gonna segue us because we started talking about this before we began. So we go through these things. We got to have this realization of this is who I am. We need to fall in love with ourselves because all of this is a foundation for growth. This is a foundation for elevation. And you brought up a really good point when we were talking, and you were talking about how we can get to the next level when we want to own everything that we've done. And before you start rattling off, I just think, my transitions and my segues are usually a little bit smoother than that. But I definitely want to just do the and flip it for the simple fact that you could have stayed in a specific place of victim, being more of a victim.
Absolutely.
Life, and this is what it threw at me. But you talked about you growing over the past year, and it had nothing to do with all of that shit that happened then. You looked at life from just owning everything that happened to you, good, bad, or indifferent. And you use that as a tool to help other people elevate and grow. So how did that come about? Why do you do that? How do you do it? I don't know where you want to lead from. Just take it and let's start talking about that.
So I think one of the questions you asked me before is like, what is it that I do? Like, I am a mom, but what is it that I do? I love on people, and I love being in love. I love learning about people. And what I've learned in the last year, because it's been a lot more spiritual growth, is the fact that you either have love or you have fear. And everything you do is based on one of those two things. So when I say you own everything that you are, if you know you suck at, I don't know, spades. Let's say you suck at playing spades, but you suck at playing spades, and you can tell everybody, look, I suck and I don't care. There's nothing they can say to you no more. If you've taken the words out of their mouth, it's something, I think I heard something about, Drake owning all of his shit, like all that dumb shit that he did or didn't do or whatever his shortcomings are, he owns all of it. What can you say after that?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So if I own everything that is me, my mistakes, my achievements, all my shortcomings, everything where I didn't quite show up the way I wanted to and things happened, if I can own all of that, there is nothing anybody can step to me and say that would affect me anymore.
You know what?
And that is self-love at the highest.
Yes, because what I find with a lot of people is that, and I had a client say this to me recently. They've been in the program. They were like kicking ass at the beginning of it, and it kind of disappeared. And I'm like, I would pick up the phone. Where were you at? What are you doing? And they're like, oh, but I didn't feel worthy because I haven't done this and haven't done that. So I haven't been in a group. And I'm like, we got to talk about that, because you have a layer of judgment and a layer of self-hate, and you've got to embody everything about you. And we live in a society where that freedom is not granted. And I don't care which religion it is, but I always put my disclaimer out there. I'm speaking specifically from Christianity because that's how I was raised. There's that layer of you're in your flesh, you're in your sin suit, you're going to make mistakes. You need to repent daily. You need to pray and ask God to forgive you. We really, in most facets, from some type of religious doctrine or the achievement society, you get rewarded because you did something great. You get condemned because you did something bad. It's a natural inclination because of the way that we're wired to only want to own the good and then to look at the bad and put ourselves down. And you're right that it's very pivotal, and you need that for the simple fact that if you don't, you won't become solution oriented. And I'll just briefly say this with my own personal experience. A lot of people have heard me talk about how there was this program that I signed up for when I really got my bearings with my business that I wasn't mature enough to be in. It was like $3,000 a month. I put myself in severe debt. There were other investments prior to that. I just like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of debt to build my business, to the point that me and my husband had to borrow money to pay our rent. We had to drive Uber, and let me reiterate, we didn't have to drive Uber, but we still chose to drive Uber because we were still bent out of shape on, we need to make money so that we can keep food on the table and keep a roof over our head, but we still need some level of flexibility to build my business. If I would have stayed angry, because once it was all over with and the smoke cleared, I was like, why the fuck did they let me in this program anyway? When that woman interviewed me, she should have been mature enough and said, you're not ready for this.
A good fit. Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't going to help me. Instead, I had to say, August, why the fuck did you sign up for it? And then I had to say, because you were operating out of a spirit of desperation. You made that investment. And so I literally walked away with nothing. By the grace of God, they didn't hold me to the contract for the rest of the money, and I had to rebuild. But because I took ownership and said, well, you didn't have to do that. You're a savvy business owner. You've been successful in everything else. You let the fear, your word, love or fear, you let the fear and intimidation of the online arena take you off your take you out of your own knowledge. You got in your own way and you made a decision that wasn't a good fit. And by doing that, I didn't say, woe is me. I got up and I fought and I fixed it. And so now, bam, profitable business. But I had to
see, now you know that there are people out there that do those things. You are doing a lot to make sure that you are nothing like them, and no one can ever say that about you. So, I mean, I was in a similar situation. Somebody, you know, it could have been better. Yeah. It could have been worth something, but it's all good. But bottom line is, if we boil everything that you just said down, what it comes down to is something is always running in the back of your head, something that you were taught. It's always running in the back of your head. It's always like criticism. No one can criticize me better than I can criticize me. I guarantee you that right now, so don't even try. Okay? So if I can own the fact that, yeah, okay, you screwed up. So what do you do now? And you just go sit there and be like, I screwed up, I screwed up, I screwed up, I screwed up. It's not going to get you nowhere. It's like a rocking chair, just back and forth, back and forth. You're not going anywhere. It's a lot of movement. You talk about busy work, right? It's a lot of movement, but you're not going anywhere. So for me, I love. I recently had someone come to me. They had just gotten out of a really bad breakup, and they continue showing up. And I'm happy to have them and everything. But he mentioned something about, I was talking to my daughter and I was telling her, you know, kids are bullying her. She's really upset. I said, look, they don't know any better. And you need to love them and understand that this is who they are. You can't do anything about it, but you are okay. You're good enough the way you are because love is your superpower. And he kind of got like, oh, okay, I don't like that, because he's coming out of it still hurts, right? So when I took him outside and he asked me, he was like, yeah, I got to say, you know, that kind of irked my nerves a little bit. I was like, well, why you come over here? He was like, you don't ask me any questions. I was like, yeah, but I'm asking you now. Why do you come over here? And he kind of stopped, and I was like, you come over here because you are loved here. You are accepted here. There is no judgment. You get to be you. However you want to be, you get to be you. So that's what I do, I think.
You know what? And I've said this to many clients before, that's the component and the element. And I know we're not the only ones, right? I don't have what I call the Elijah complex. For those of you who are, once again, my biblical scholars, you understand. You understand that. But I have learned even the more working in the online arena and working with people, that some that I've never seen physically, but at a great distance, that especially with women, but it's men too, that there's often a love deficit. And I have spent more time loving on the people that I coach than I have teaching them strategy. Because the strategy is something that they can write down in bullet points and they can keep with them, and they can translate it to something else, another business later on down the line. But part of the evolution, part of you loving yourself also means that you gotta, no. It's so funny. My phone does it every once in a while. But you have to come to the realization that you may have to change your circle, your environment. You may need, and it's not necessarily that easy where you just shut everything down for everybody. But when you find that one place where you can see what genuine love feels like, then you need to immerse yourself in it so that you can give yourself permission to receive and be loved, so that you can learn to love yourself and then love others. But most people they don't want to acknowledge their lack of love for self and try to say that they're okay by rushing out to go love somebody else.
That's true. And I'm going to boil it down again, because what I've realized is you and I are alike in the fact that we attract people based on where we are. And it's people that are trying to get to our level that, you know, just need a little top up. It's almost like we're a gas station. They come to fill up. They are feeling a love deficit. They come and fill up with us, right?
Yes.
But to make it even simpler still, you have children. I have children. And I want to make sure that I know you know this. When I tell my daughter off while we're studying, she shuts down on me. But if I celebrate those tiny triumphs, she lights up like the 4th of July, and she wants to learn more. So there's something beautiful that happens when someone is loved. They suddenly like set on fire. They feel capable of anything. They'll try everything once, you know, it's like they turn into the Hulk, but like, you know, the friendly kind. Because they're full of love. They suddenly have this inner power. Like, okay, I doubt myself. You don't doubt me. You fill me with love and encouragement. okay, I'm not going to doubt me either. Let's go try something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when we do what we do in business, you have to do the same thing. The conversation that I had the other night with the woman, I was like, wait a minute, why are you beating yourself up? You came in, you did this, 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 and this. You know, she literally had maybe like 2.5 months of like magnificent strides. She felt a little stagnant. Some distractions came. And now all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, I am such a freaking loser. And I'm like, how in the world did a week or two of dysfunction, you know, take it and make your brain say, I'm a loser. I'm not worthy. And I'm like, no, you need to celebrate all of your wins. It was the very basic things for me that helped me elevate when I first started building my business. I tell people all the time, you have to have a spirit of expectation. You have to have a spirit of celebration, even with yourself, because when I first started, nobody was watching my videos. There's no way in hell I would have launched a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, people won't even watch my videos. But you know what? When I got 12, I was like, hey, I'm in the double digits. You know, when people were watching, but they weren't commenting, they weren't liking, when they started liking or commenting, I was like, yay, somebody is paying attention. When I had that one faithful person, matter of fact, her name was Donna Toski. She would be on like all of my videos, and the videos started lasting longer because I would have like 50 comments literally from her just typing. And then it's like, wait a minute, somebody's sharing. Oh, people are reaching out to me and saying, I saw your video. But if I didn't celebrate all of those little things, I wouldn't have had the heightened level of energy, video after video after video after video, for the people to feed into. And so, yes, what you're doing with your daughter is powerful. You're teaching her to celebrate her wins, because that is sometimes the life force. That's the saving force that allows us to stand, because there isn't this 6 steps to 6 figures in 6 days, and you're on the beaches of Hawaii, and traveling the 30 world. Days. Yeah. And everything is just magnificent. There are ups and downs in this journey, and the ability to hone positivity and to have a great perspective, no matter what life throws at you, is a primary component to being able to live in this game called life, let alone be in it as an entrepreneur.
And being an entrepreneur, you know as well as I do, we're like a one-man band, right? We do everything. We do the accounting, we do the website, we do everything. So the buck stops with us. And if we can't own our mistakes, there's no way we're going to move forward. If I can't be like, yeah, okay, I screwed up because I should have done this and I didn't do this because it's my business, it's nobody else's. What I've learned, I work a 9 to 5 at the moment too. So what I've learned is I don't get frustrated when people don't want to make a decision no more, because it's not my business. And you've heard me say this before. It's not my monkeys and it's not my circus. Y'all do you. Get back to me when you're ready and I'll push it through the next level, whatever. Yeah. But what I love about my brand, I get to be me, just as I am. And I know, and I know you relate to this, I know that with the abuse that I've suffered, the hardships that I've encountered, I have someone's voice. It's not always mine. It's someone's voice running through my head. Maybe it's an aunt that said, oh, you never amount to anything. Why would you do that? It's completely crazy. It's all those things that scare me. And I've seen it time and time again with people that come to me, including my daughter. I realize that if I can love them the way I want to be loved, like all encompassing, like that real, law of attraction, universe support kind of love, I get to change that dialogue in their head. Yes. I get to give them something else to repeat in their head. It's almost like you've seen The Help, right? Where she says, you is kind, you is beautiful, you is intelligent, like all those things. Like sometimes they've never had someone tell them those things. They've never had someone see those things in them. So I don't know. I love what I do. Yeah, you do love what you do. And that puts you in a position to be able to love on people, because like you said, we're not talking about, like you said, chasing after people, let them do what they do, be the monkey in the circus and all of that. But for the people that are really, pushing through whatever their obstacles are,
I don't really think people think about the energy that it takes to truly be a coach, to truly stand in the gap and to fill those voids. And so, yeah, I know that, there's a level of automation and all of that should go into a business. And, when you're a beast and you're creating passive income, plus you are putting yourself out there to be able to reach more people, one to many, that's a beautiful thing. But that deep inner work requires a lot of energy. I don't care how good you are, and I don't care what you've studied. I personally am getting ready to start Reiki training next week.
I'm excited about that. You gotta let me know.
Because I want to elevate in my spirituality because I feel the pull. But I don't
never stop learning.
Yeah, and you never stop learning, but that energetic requirement that you cannot avoid when you love people, you can't give it with it. And stay in the thick of it if you don't love yourself.
Exactly. But even still, like you mentioned, it's hard for coaches. People don't understand what it takes. I don't have to be whole. My cup doesn't have to be running over for me to serve you. No. I can be going through my own storm.
Yes.
I can be going through something. But what I find is if I get the opportunity to serve, I find a lesson in helping you too.
Yes.
What I know for a fact is if I can serve you, mm-hmm. It'll come back to me. It won't come from you, but it will come back to me when I need it. So why not? Why not pay it forward?
Absolutely, because if you're looking for it to be perfect, is what that means, then you would never be able to move what it is. And I literally just said this in a video in one of my free groups where you're here and the person that needs help is there. And in the process of helping them, you evolve. And you evolve as you're helping and you're growing. Because honestly, there's a phrase I used to say when I used to do a lot of work in the church, and it was you minister to get ministered to. So you could have an issue and maybe you're starting your business and you lack faith. And all of a sudden you're pulling on me energetically. And I'm like, no, you got to have faith. You got to believe you can do this. What I tell my clients is when I have very intense sessions with them, I have to come back and have a very intense moment with myself because I have to look at the principle. The principle that was discussed was faith. Now, I just told you need to have faith starting your business. I don't need to have faith starting my business, but then I have to say, why is it that faith was coming from me so powerfully? And maybe I have to have faith in that I'm worthy to collaborate with a bigger wig out there, whatever that is. But so I have to internalize that and deal with that same shit, for myself. And so through helping others, you be like, you better believe, and your mind will be saying, you better believe too. I
was just about to say that because you be saying it and it comes out your mouth and be like, damn, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And it came out of my mouth.
Helping others, we help ourselves.
Exactly.
That is exactly what it looks like. So yes, there is beauty. If you want to grow and you want to evolve, your relationships are the best way, whether that's relationships with your child, with your spouse, with your clients, with people that you work with, for, anybody, if you have a job, if you want to grow, growth is exponential in your relationships because it reveals an iron sharpening iron type of thing.
Yes, iron sharpens iron. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something else I've noticed lately is it matters how you tell your story. How you tell your story, I can tell if it still hurts you or not. I can tell if you've gotten over it or not. Mm-hmm. So that's why I love people. I love, sitting and talking to them and finding out stuff. And through the course of a conversation, I can tell, all right, let's talk about that for a second. Let's slow the whole story down. Let's stop here and let's talk about that for a second, because that feels like something that's big. I've been listening to my gut a whole lot more. I've been guided to probe certain things because it sticks out as, oh my God, that's major. She got to fix that first. And it becomes very logical from there. But love isn't logical, and neither is fear. So it's always about my gut. I follow my gut. So it's been very helpful lately.
Yeah, and that is the aspect of coaching or, counseling, guiding, whatever word, serving, whatever word you put on it, that someone can't really teach you. That's you still. This is still going back to being connected with self. That's you tapping into you, trusting your gut, being intuitive. That means that you have to, hey, I'm okay for thinking this. I'm okay for feeling this. I should move on this. When there's a lot of self-doubt, you block, your intuition. When there's a feeling of unworthiness, when there's a lack of self-love, when your meter's running low, you will naturally block your intuition. You have to fall in love with and be confident, in who you are in order to be able to tap into that. And not confident in like some arrogant fashion, but because, and I'm a firm believer in this, if love is the ruling force behind why you make a decision, even in your confidence, if you make a decision and it seemed like it was an error, it still isn't. For some reason, it all still works out. Everything is still working for your good. If your guidance system is a love, then you have less resentment when things don't go the way that you thought that they would go. You rebound quicker, and your expectations can also still stay high for the person, for the situation, for the outcome, all of those things. If love is the ruling agent behind the decisions that you make, then you know that there's safety in that. And that's just my personal opinion.
That's true. I believe that as well. But sometimes it's hard to differentiate whether you're doing it out of love or if you're doing it out of fear. For instance, while I was with my ex, I would do things to kind of get his attention because I was afraid that he was going to forget me. I had separation anxiety, even as a child. So I would go out of my way to make his favorite dinners. I would go out of my way to learn more about, what his favorite restaurants were, so he wouldn't have to go out to go eat. He could stay home because I could make the same shit restaurant quality in the house. But that was not operating out of love, actually. Yes, I love him. Yes, I want to serve him. But that was out of fear. I wasn't operating from, I just want to do it because I want to do it. I wanted something in return. That's not love. That was fear. So I think people get lost in that a little bit. Yes, I'm doing it out of love. You can justify pretty much anything, right?
Absolutely.
But if you are actually honest with yourself, you know whether it's fear or not. You know whether you want something back or not. When I get dressed up, just because I feel like I need to get dressed up, sometimes you feel like shit. Your hair doesn't look right. You finally get some piece of clothing that makes you feel good. You go out and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna kill it today. That's just you. That's your energy just coming out, right?
Right.
And I feel like we need that in our everyday lives, not just how we look, but how we feel. Like, what is it about you that you love so much that could never bring you down? Sometimes it's a certain song, and you just like feel like jumping and like dancing, and you can't help it. That love kind of just shines through. And it's hard to get to that place. It's hard to stay in that place. But that's where you are you. Without boundaries, without limitations, without that reel in your head, without what society has taught you. And that's what I've been learning. Everything that you are is actually a process of unlearning everything they taught you, starting with school.
Wow. Profound, and I agree.
It's sad. I wish it wasn't like that.
It is. That's why mine are homeschooled, but I'm not going to go there. We'll be on here forever.
That's why I did that. No, that's why I did that too. I did that too. But then I can't do it forever. I still have to have a job. So until I get to a place where I feel comfortable and I'm happy doing what I do all the time, whatever it is, it's going to be a bunch of stuff, not just going to be one thing. But she also needs to be acclimated in a social setting with other kids. She needs to understand what the world's really like. So I can love her to death, and she and I will be awesome forever, but at some point she's going to leave me. Yeah. And my job as a parent is to prepare her for what's outside of my house.
Amen. Amen. So here we are. Love yourself, own your shit, love on others, pay attention to the principles, what is constantly being brought to you. All of these things, you're here. This is what you help people with. What's that one golden nugget that you want to give them to help them get there on their own? Visualize someone listening to this podcast that says, you know what? I know that I have a worthiness issue. I know that I don't, love myself the way that I should. I'll say it to myself inside, but outside I'm going to walk around and wear the mask and pretend like I'm okay. I'm going to pretend like it's all right. And it may be the makeup and the clothes, the position, the degrees, the successful business, but there's a war that they're fighting within. What kind of advice would you give to that woman to help her begin the healing journey?
I had to get really comfortable with who I am, and that started with who I am inside my house. You put on a mask when you step outside, obviously, because you're going to run into somebody you know at work, your aunts and uncles, like cousins, whatever. You're going to run into somebody. But at home, after you take your makeup off, after you've washed the day off of you, what do you do for fun? What do you do kind of to zen out? Is it watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Is it crossword puzzles in your favorite sleep t-shirt? It could be anything. It doesn't matter. But start with that first, because you can do more of that. I think I saw something one day that says, all the things you wish you could do, write it down in one day. What could you wish you could do? And then in the next column, what can you change of the things you do to make that list like shift over, basically. It is that simple, but we don't want to think about it that way, because we think about time as like you run out of it at some point. You don't think about the little pockets of 2-3 minutes here and there where you can do stuff. I've been doing a lot of live challenges, and it's 60 seconds to go live. Do you know how many times I could go live in a day? In between all the other crap I got going on, we can do that. So if you can find that place in your house where you are most comfortable, you don't have to answer to nobody. Nobody can talk shit to you in that zone. It's like, it's a headspace, but it's somewhere in your house, because you don't have to get dressed up. You can sit in your underwear and scratch your ass all day long and you'd be happy. What is that place? If you could veg out right now, what would you do?
So permission to have some fun, to make some different decisions. Look, ladies, write your list out. But like she said, never doubt the simplicity. I ask my clients to do some of the simplest things, and they're like, once they're finished, they're like, this shit was really profound. It's not, sometimes we think there's like got to be this big old grand thing, but
we're so used to high tech. Low tech works really well.
Yeah, hello. And so the reality is that, for some people, like you said, it's just getting into a quiet nook and reading a book. Well, you might only be able to do 10 to 15 minutes, but you know what? If you get your groove back going and you pick up a good book, you're going to be like, I'm going to find a way to get 20, 30 minutes in. But give yourself permission to do a little. It's each step that you take. I met a woman when I was at a conference last week in DC, and she was like, yeah, I'm here to reinvent myself, and I'm looking for the coach that's going to help me do that. And I was like, so who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And she's like, this is what I'm going to do. And she started talking about this big old global thing. Mind you, she hasn't started this business yet. And I said, okay, let me rephrase the questioning. What do you have to offer people right now to solve just at least one problem in their life? And she was like, oh yeah, well, I got to work on that. But, and I said, no. I said, one of the things about entrepreneurs is good to have that big vision, end goal. But what about right now? What about all the things that you could do right now? Because you're so busy looking at what's at the distance, it's actually going to prevent you from getting there. And I started walking away from her, but I said, but when you do this, and when you do that, and when you do this, and when you do that, you are accomplishing things and getting closer and closer to that place. And so until you can embrace each step, you won't get there. And so even with self-love, even with honoring yourself, even with incorporating more zenning out time, go ahead, ladies, and embrace the 2 minutes. Even if it, unfortunately, for moms like me that have multiple kids, you lock the bedroom door, go in the bathroom, and lock the bathroom door so that they can't, you got double barriers so that you can make sure that you have quietness. So you have to run out the door because your son is grabbing his shoes. No, mommy, my shoes, as you're running. No. And even if I don't do anything but just sit outside for like 5 minutes, start doing it small, because then you're going to start doing it bigger and bigger. And you'll realize that what was really off was your perception and what your priorities, and you will change some things. I like that. There was a beautiful nugget. It's something really simple that we can all take there. Ladies, you want to elevate? This is what season 2 is all about. It's about elevation. Elevate with you first. Don't stop serving. Like she said, you don't have to be perfect. Your cup doesn't have to be running over. And you at Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols, all these great people, Eric Thomas.
They go through stuff.
They started little. They started little, just like the rest of us, and they had a hustle. They had some things that they were doing that they were starting small. So I know I was rattling off a lot. I don't want to have the last words. If there's anything else that you want to say before we get ready to wrap this up, I love them.
Let's talk podcasts. You were talking about, step by step, right? If you had thought about making a global podcast where people in 52 different countries download, where would you have started if you looked at the end? Okay, you have the goal, but where would you start? Mm-hmm. If I hadn't started let's do Facebook Live audio, and I just did it once, and then I did it twice. And before I knew it, I made a habit of it every day at the end of my day, kind of like, Rev Run, sitting in his bathtub talking. I did it every day, and suddenly I had 100 episodes, and I had 200 episodes, and it's the little things every day. Yes. You can block out time, you guys. You really can. 20 minutes. If you need to work out to feel good, schedule 20 minutes every day. If you need that hour before your day starts, before the kids wake up early, an hour early, and do what you got to do. No one's going to do it for you.
Nobody is. Make the decision.
This is your life.
Yes. Make the decision and execute. Ladies, I'm sure that this segment was highly reflective. I'm positive it made you really think about who you are and where you are. Love yourself. Own your shit. The good and the bad, all of it makes you who you are. Pica, thank you for coming here. Thank you for
Thanks for inviting me. It's always awesome to talk to you.
Yes, I know. I mean, your energy, it is what it is. It is what it is. And it has inspired me, moved me, and motivated me since day one. You are one of those people that I definitely want to keep, in my friend zone. I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go there. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You better not. and who knows? Maybe we can think of some other stuff. Maybe even think about a series. Come back. I love it when I have powerhouses. When I have powerhouses that can say, hey, I really want to do something to do these teaching points, and maybe we give something more structured and strategic. I would also welcome that too. You guys listening, what you want? You want her to come back?
That's what I was going to say. See, you and I were just thinking the same thing. I was like, look, everybody who's listening right now, if you feel like I gave you anything that could help, if there's something else you want me to explain, you want me to go down this path a little bit more, let August know. Write down, comments in the comment section and everything. Reach out to August. Let her know. I will be back. You just let me know.
Yes, and you can find both
Always
of us
a pleasure.
On Facebook. Look for that Rats Off one, y'all.
Yeah.
We are going to get out of here because we could talk all day, but I'm in a appointment frenzy today. So
yeah,
I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you for being here. What do we say? Real women don't bitch. They get shit done. Get out there, elevate, and beast your business. Deuces.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you.